You know what's crazy? You probably have that one random weight, that one random dumbbell or kettlebell, and certainly some of you have some really heavy bags or purses that you can use. And if you just have one of them, you can do these 6 exercises. So this is for all you busybodies out there who are trying to carve out time for your health, for your strength. Like I said, random dumbbells, 30 pounds. So I'm doing things that are outside my league a little bit, but I'm going to work with it. The first thing you can do is a standard bicep curl. And so you want to have stability everywhere else. I was catching myself leaning a little bit. You want to be as upright as you can be and try not to swing anywhere else. I might be doing it. Again, 30 is pushing it a little bit for me. And you want your wrist to turn up as you curl up and your wrist to face your leg when you're turned down or when you're down at the resting position. You want full range of motion as much as you can and slow on the way down. I got to go to the other arm. I'm sorry. You really want to watch, especially when you get a heavier weight that you might have, that you're not swinging with your hip or with your back, but you're keeping everything else nice in control. It'll help isolate that muscle, but it'll just help with getting a better workout and safer too. Now let's say you're taking that same dumbbell or weight or backpack or purse. I'm going to show you with the car seat in a little bit, but maybe you've got that and you can just hold it right here. Hard to do with the car seat. With the backpack and a purse, you might have to figure it out. It could be a real heavy, those huge gallons, water bottles, whatever it is, you got something. We'll just get a goblet squat. You hold it tight to your chest. You don't want to hold it out here, and you don't want to necessarily hold it down here. Not the worst thing, but certainly for a goblet squat, you want it right here. Try to get as deep as you can, where you still have control, and you're using both of your legs evenly. Those are great for the quads. Those are great for the glutes. And those are actually great for the shoulders some, into the shoulder blade area because you're maintaining that weight, especially depending on how heavy the weight is. Trixie, you want to join me? Let's use the weight and do a bent over single arm row. So you could take something like a couch, probably more so the edge of the couch, or you can just really focus on good back form and try to get a row here. I like to split my stance, open up the hip there where the weight is at, so there's a little bit more space for it. And you want to let it drop straight down to the ground without turning your body. And start from that position and squeeze at the shoulder blade as you pull your elbow up. Squeeze at the shoulder blade. A lot of people like to add some rotation. I would say save that, just so you can, again, focus on some of the muscle groups that you're not typically working, which is, I like to say, between the shoulder blades, your scapular retractors, because then you start to add in a little bit of the core, which is not the worst thing, right? But you just kind of want to pick and choose what you want to focus on so that you can be consistent with your form. Let's do the other side. I'll show you. And again, watch your lower back that you're not hunched over like this. If you want something to hold on to, maybe it's a desk or a table, a countertop, back of a chair, just something to stabilize you. So here's an interesting one that you don't see quite often because it's not real flashy. It doesn't get a huge muscle pump as you might hear or as you might want, but it's still very functional and nice to add into your workouts. I call it controlled marching with one dumbbell on the side or one weight on the side. And literally it is a controlled march for single leg balance for a few seconds. And by having that one weight while you're trying to stay upright, actively engage the core, you're going to make yourself use your hips and your obliques, your core in general, your shoulders. You're going to make yourself use all these things, and your ankles, of course, to stabilize you. And maybe it's one of those filler exercises that you can use as a superset while you're in rest for another exercise. And then, of course, you always want to do both sides. Ooh, I can feel all that. This one I'll have to sit down for just because it's a lot easier to maintain control. That's the overhead tricep press. Again, it's great when you have one weight, especially if it's a little bit heavier like this one. You can grab your weight evenly between the hands and just let your elbows bend behind your head and then straighten above your head. Maybe with the light, it might make more sense over here. But hopefully you start to see that form. Try to stay upright. What's great is your core is pretty much involved in all these exercises. You can't be lazy with the core. This one's a little more advanced. It would be nice if you had a lighter weight, but I'm going to work with the 30 pounds like I said. A single leg deadlift. And I like my knee not to be too bent, but also not to be locked out straight. Just a little bend, and I can focus on bending at the hip without using my lower back to round and making sure I'm actually straightening out right here in that moving hip. So it's going to look like this. Nice control on the way down. I like to tell people from the back of the head to the heel should feel and look like a straight line, so that you get the most out of this hip hinge. And you try your best not to open up the hip, but to have the hips face forward as much as possible. I'm not perfect with it, but that's what's in your mind. Everything straight from the head to the heel, and then try to keep your hips facing forward. And you should feel that burn in the hamstrings here, but also the squeeze in the glutes there, and your lower back as well gets involved. Now, some of those exercises shown with a baby car seat here, no baby inside, but you could do a little bit of the goblet squats, or maybe with the baby inside, right? Just as long as you're safe and in control. So you do the goblet squats like that. Typically, this is one that, if you're a guy out there, I know that you like to do this already if you got a baby in a car seat. Just challenging yourself there with the curls. Tricep press is going to be a little difficult with this guy. You can certainly do the single leg deadlift. I'll show you from the side here. Not as low as what you might be able to go with. And definitely with the controlled marches. All right? Where you're getting the whole body to try and stabilize you with a single weight. So those are 6 exercises that you can do if you've just got a random dumbbell or kettlebell in the house. Maybe you've got a car seat. Like I said, you've got a heavy backpack, you've got a heavy purse. Anything that you can find that gives you a decent challenge, those are things that you could do if you just had one of those. The hope for the Busybody Group is that we can provide you with resources and tools to help you get healthy and strong, even though life is busy, even though your life could be hectic. Subscribe, like, share this video to let people know what you're working on.